Ooh.
Great. So,
Okay.
welcome, Lucy. Thank you so much for agreeing
Hi.
to do this.
Okay.
So, I'd love if you could start off by telling us what it is that you do that you really love.
Wow. Okay. Start off. Actually trained to be an actress, and
Oh,
that's all I wanted to
wow.
do. And I went. My dad wouldn't let me go to stage school. He said I had to go to university. So I went and did it at university, and didn't do any research, and ended up somewhere where it just took all my confidence away. So I'm no longer an actress, and can't even think about doing it. But I do love communicating, and I love just I like putting people together, and I like putting things over. And I got into PR, and that's what I do. And I've been in and worked in agencies as a PR. I've worked on my own, and I realised that what I absolutely love doing, I love putting people together, and I do it all the time. So now I do it as a job, and I'm acting as well. So it's just perfect. I
And what,
totally
what
love.
is it about that that makes it so enjoyable for you?
You get such a buzz out of when it works. So it could be from a small thing of literally, I meet you and you want a story in your local paper, and I talk to the journalist. I find the angle within your business. The journalist thinks, yeah, that's interesting, and that's going to be good for me, the journalist in my paper. And then I then put the two of you in touch. We see it in the paper, and you're really chuffed that
Yeah.
it's happened. And
Yeah.
I just feel fantastic. And that's a small one. And then bigger, I put businesses together, I put people. So, you know what, you'd work really well with her. And it worked, and I get such a buzz out of it.
It's kind of like a matchmaker for businesses almost.
Yeah, it is. And what PR is that I only really grasped fairly recently is it's a way, especially for us English, it's a way of telling the world how marvellous you are without boasting. And so it is a matchmaking thing without boasting. So you want to say, do you know what, I'm brilliant at this, everybody, and you should come. I could do it for you, but you can't say that being
Yes.
the best way to do it is to have third party endorsement, and so I love being that one in the middle, going, look, she'll write about you. She thinks you're great, and well, I tell it you're great, and it works. It's just brilliant.
And so you talked a little bit about, like I'm curious about how you discovered it. So, because what you said was you had an experience and that knocked your confidence, and then you just kind of found your way. When it
Mm.
was like, what was the journey to get to here?
Well, I found I was selling advertising space for in
Yeah.
an advertising magazine, and I was awful at that because I could get people interested. I had no trouble ringing them up. I had no trouble chatting and finding out what they wanted. That again, you see, finding out what their need was,
Yeah.
and I knew what I could give them, but I could never ask for the sale. Just couldn't do it. And they all shouted at me. It was just dreadful. And one month they did an article about PR, and I thought, "Yeah, that sounds interesting." So then I just researched it a bit, and found that yes, that would have that did suit me. So I left there, got the job as the lowest of the low, and then just worked my way up. And along there, realised that that's exactly what I do, what I'm good at. PR is perfect for, because there's no sale, there's no
Yeah.
ask for a sale. All I have to do is to say, journalist, this is my person. You don't have to write about it if you don't want to, because it's a free world, and the journalist either does or they don't. And if they don't, I'm not in trouble because there is a free world. They can do what they like. And so gently, I did all that. And what I think is what's happened to me, which I think is interesting for people who will listen to this, is I went and did it with the agencies all the time. I've always been a consultant, which is great. Makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
I was with agencies, and the agencies would say, "This is how we want you to say things, Lucy, and this is how we want you to make phone calls. And when you send emails out, we want you to copy in all the rest of us, so we all know what you've been saying." And I thought, I can't do it like that. That's busy. And so then I went off and took the plunge after I had children, and did it on my own. And now no one listens to me. Nobody reads my emails. I do it how I want to do it, and I make my communications my way, and I'm just so much more successful. and have so much more fun.
It sounds like there's loads of values in there. So, like, creativity, freedom,
Yes.
independence, all those kind of things come up as you're speaking. Is that
Yes.
is that
Yes.
kind of how it feels?
It is, and that's I think what you need in my job, because you've got to have the freedom to you're communicating, your say your business to the journalists, and I have to first of all find what is that nub that's going to interest them. I have to be enthusiastic about it, so I have to be creative to find that, and
Yeah.
then to use my words to pass it over. And that's when you're in an organization, an agency, sort of the corporate side of things, they won't let you say it in your own.
No.
And you're in a room full of people going, "Oh, you're a bit noisy." That's what I used to have. She's a bit noisy. Oh, sorry. And then and I like to make phone calls standing up, walking around, and it just. And I always say, if you can put something over with a smile, it'll get better. You'll get a better response. And
Well, and your energy is really infectious. Like there's a real kind of
I
lightness.
love it. That's right. I just love what I do. I love it.
So if you were to, because often I meet people that say, yeah, that's all very well, Vanessa, but actually in reality, you've got to make a living, or if you were to, from kind of where you are, what advice would you give to people who know that they've got a kind of misfit in what they're doing, but are scared, essentially to try and explore something different?
I think this is what I do anyway. I'm a firm believer in having professionals around me who can give me advice, and people who've either done it or are doing a similar something like what you do, to which will give me confidence. So when I started out, I just looked at how are people structuring PR companies on their own. How do they do it on their own? Find someone who's successful doing it on their own, and talk to them and get their their pathway.
Yeah.
Then also building up your own confidence, and you're good at what you do because you're doing it. Someone's already paying you to do it. You can do it on your own, and it's just a case of making sure your tools tools in your armory are strong. So your confidence in yourself. You've got someone you can follow, and then off you go and do it in your own way. And gosh, our world is so fab now for working on our own.
I love what you said about do it in your own way, because it's almost like what I hear in you is like, okay, you've really discovered your true natural strengths. And you are doing it in your own way.
But what's amazing, Vanessa, is that I'm being paid to do it my own way, which I didn't think I would be able to. I've got testimonials all on my website, which are all basically saying, I like working with her. I think, go on then. And so I know I can do the job, because the job's not a hard job, but the way you do it is the nub, isn't it? And if people like the way you're doing it, that's the business, and that's what inspires me and keeps me going on a bad day and stuff. I think, no, this is good. I know what I'm doing, and I know that this will help you. So get it out.
Is part of it the fact that you are helping other businesses to grow? Is that
one of my drivers is a people pleasing drive. Phrases, and I like being helpful, and I like people being happy, and so to have a job where you can do that, even though I'm doing it commercially, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm doing it for someone to make, for their business to make money. They feel better, and we all like talking about ourselves, and to be able to talk about yourself and your business in the public arena, in a newspaper, online, or whatever, it's just fab.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you mentioned because sometimes I know running your own business is really like a roller coaster. It's up and down. When it is really tough, what is it that keeps you going? I mean, you slightly mentioned something about that a moment ago, but I'm just curious, like, how do you really dig deep?
Yes, I have a personal goal reason, and that's a real personal reason, and that's two things really. I have 3 children, and I want them. I want to be able to support them. I can obviously support them emotionally, but I want to have a business that generates enough that can support them in whatever they want to do. So, and I'm excited about that. And also, I want them to see that it's fine to step off that conveyor belt if they want to. They don't have to go through yes, they need to have their exams, and yes, they need to get a job, but it doesn't have to be the set job,
the set path.
Big goal for me. And then, as I say, with my everybody who comes into my world, I want them to be up there getting what they deserve. So that's my other, my sort of commercial driver, I guess.
Yeah. It sounds like there's loads of alignment. So like that piece around, well, I want to role model for my kids. Like you can do it your way.
Yes.
And then for my clients, equally, I want to get to kind of the heart of them and let them shine too.
But it's interesting as a woman that, it is possible to have, it's possible to do what we're doing and to support yourself. That's what I really want my children to see. That is, you don't have to rely on having the formal, treadmill path that I and my sort of generation were made to feel, that if we didn't have this set job,
totally
to us, whereas there's thousands of things, and I do PR for so many different people and so many different. I didn't even know these jobs existed. How lovely, and I really want my children to be able to do that.
That's cool.
That's really nice.
So if someone was watching this and they wanted to get in touch with you, Lucy, and they could do with some help with their messaging and PR, how would they do that?
Well, I have I am lucymatthews.com I have a website, lucymatthews.com. Double T, and in fact it's changing as we speak, but it'll still everything, because I'm going to be an organisation rather than me, because I'm still on the path, and I've just been me so far, but whatever happens, it'll if you look for me, it'll be directed my way, and I'm in the middle of writing a book. I've just written an ebook, and I'm doing PR for a little organisation for micro businesses. So that's online as well. So I'm all over the place, and I'm at PR Taker on Twitter, which I totally tell everyone to get involved with, because that's
how we've met.
That's where you and I met.
Yeah.
But it's the PR of the 21st century. That's the place where you're going to get seen, and where you're going to build your profile and the whole thing.
That's fantastic. Lucy, thank you so much.
Thank you. I could carry on.